Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Nicole from Crowdfunder. For obvious reasons, we can't hold our workshops on location at the moment, so we're bringing them to you from our homes straight into your homes. Hopefully, by the end of today's workshop, you'll leave knowing more about crowdfunding and the Active Together Fund to prepare you to crowdfund for your sports organisation. At the end, you'll be sent a link to the Learn platform. There we'll show you how to crowdfund, giving you the tools to raise the money to make your idea happen. So just some quick housekeeping points to let you know about before we start. We've allowed about 30 minutes for this session. It might take a bit less than that, maybe a bit longer, depending on the chat and questions we have. If you do want to ask a question, type it in the chat box to the right of your screen. We'll try to make sure we get through as many as we can during the session. And finally, in case any of you are wondering, we cannot see you. You can see us, but we can't see you. So today we're going to hear from one of our crowdfunding coaches, Chloe. And we're going to be hearing from someone who's crowdfunded before. They've been there, they've got the t-shirt, and we'll find out what worked and what didn't work in making their campaign a success. So without further ado, Chloe, are you here?
Hello.
Hello. Yay.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. Seems like we've got loads of bowls clubs, which is exciting.
Good. That's really exciting. So, Chloe, for those here who don't know, can you tell us a little bit more about crowdfunding?
Yeah, of course. So crowdfunding is a great way of raising money and awareness for your organisation by engaging your community. You will create a page on our online platform, promote it to your crowd and your community, and your supporters will then make a pledge to help you reach your goal. To help you make the most of your campaign and create a really, really great page, we have created a brand new learning platform, especially designed for crowdfunding for sport. We'll be sharing tricks and tips to make the most of your campaign throughout that. So make sure you check that out after this webinar. It was really important that your page is up to scratch before applying to any of our extra funding options, because this is the page that they will be assessing. So we at Crowdfunder are the top rewards-based crowdfunding platform. This means that we offer organisations the option of adding a reward to their page in addition to the standard donation that you might usually associate with fundraising. It's a great way of encouraging larger and more pledges, and a really good way to attract those outside your immediate network as well. So I'm going to give you a little example. This is Ollie Rugby Club. They, like I'm sure a lot of you here, have been affected by the coronavirus crisis. So they decided to crowdfund with us to keep the club afloat. They created a fantastic page. They included loads of videos and images. They had loads of information about their club, their impact on the community, and how they've been affected financially by COVID. But my favourite part of their campaign was their rewards. So they found some rewards that would benefit their members and those in the rugby world, if you like. So they had match day tickets, for example. But they also tapped into their local community, and they got some donations from local businesses. They had everything from fruit and vegetable boxes to, I think there was a car wash in there, and some discount on some gin. So really great way of engaging with those outside their immediate network. And clearly it worked, because they managed to raise a whopping £20,340 from 179 supporters, which is very exciting. And they were actually part of our Active Together fund as well. So Crowdfunder and Sport England have teamed up with an aim to help clubs and organisations who focus on bringing sport to the community and have been struggling because of the coronavirus crisis. Part of this initiative is the Active Together Fund, which is an amazing initiative in which Sport England have released £1 million to go to these sports organisations. Each project can receive a maximum of up to £10,000, so it's really, really worthwhile putting your all into this. To be eligible to apply, you must be a not-for-profit organisation based in England who provide sport or an activity to the community. And it's worth noting you must go on to hit 100% of your target in order to take home any of the match funding available. So really pay attention when you're thinking about your target. What is achievable for you and what do you need? But you guys are all at a bit of an advantage here because sport actually crowdfunds really, really well. That makes sense to me because crowdfunding is all about the community coming together and cheering on towards a common goal. And I don't know about you, but that sounds like sport to me. I've included on this slide here a whole selection of projects that are currently crowdfunding with us through the Active Together scheme, and you'll see absolutely everything from tennis, rugby, diving, to gymnastics and swimming. Nicole, are you still there? Seem to have lost connection with everyone. You're left with me by the looks of things. Ah, she's back. Hi, Nicole.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, Chloe. That was really bad timing. Fab. Thank you so much for that, Chloe. So in a moment, we're going to hear from Gemma. But first of all, let's just find out a little bit more about her project with a short video that she used on her project page. So hopefully we've got that ready to go.
Hi, I'm Gemma, and along with my husband Adam, we have founded Sutton Community Dance. The name tells you what we're all about. Celebrating the London Borough of Sutton, where we live. About truly building community and using the power of dance to make the world a better place. SCD, Sutton Community Dance. SCD has 4 main aims. Firstly, we want to work together to improve our physical health as everyone improves their dance skills and gets moving. Secondly, together we will improve our mental health as we grow in confidence and focus on what we can do, whatever our age or ability. Thirdly, we will build community with everyone and focus on what we have in common together. Lastly, we want to do everything we can to help people love being part of Sutton and choose to spend more time, money and creativity within the town centre. That's why we're so thrilled that our new SCD home is in a large empty shop in our brilliant local shopping centre. We urgently need your financial help to build walls and kit out the studios with lighting and sound equipment. Our plan is to create a welcoming reception area, get the lift back into service and create accessible changing spaces and fun waiting areas for everyone.
All this space is going to be Studio One. Wow.
We're excited to be launching our first ever crowdfunder. With our amazing team of experienced local dance teachers and your contributions, we can truly begin to bring this place back to life as an accessible, exciting and well-equipped hub for dance.
Dancing makes me feel happy.
Dancing helps me to express myself.
It gives me so much confidence.
Dance helps me control my anxiety.
It's good fun, keeps me fit, and it's a great thing to do with lots of friends and community, so get involved.
With your help, let's get these doors open this September.
Oh, I love that video. We use that quite a lot as an example in a lot of our workshops. It's really good, really inspiring, lots of energy. And hopefully we have the lady herself, Gemma, here. Hello, Gemma. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so
The
much for having me.
star of that video. We love it. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. It's quite inspiring to see it again myself, actually.
Oh. So, Gemma, your project was Sutton Community Dance. Could you tell us a little bit more about your project?
Yeah, of course. So Sutton Community Dance, SCD, we're a fully inclusive dance community, which aims to be for all ages and abilities. The main thing, obviously, apart from the dancing, is wanting to also bring focus to our local town centre. As many places, I'm sure, around the country, Sutton has been dying a little bit economically, and so we wanted to help to revive that and bring more people back to the high street. And we launched in August 2019 with 12 teachers that I'd worked with previously.
Fab. And why did you decide to crowdfund?
So we knew from the onset that we really wanted a dedicated and accessible dance space that everybody could meet in and really call their dance home, as it were. We didn't want to be a pop-up venue, and I know a lot of dance schools that already exist, which are brilliant, but often are occupying church halls or community settings where you have to get everything out and put it away again at the end. And we really wanted a dedicated space that was a place that people would know they could come to whenever, all the time, and we'd be open and available. And to this end, we really wanted to be on the high street as much as possible as well, so that we could really help boost the economy and bring more people to our town, which we love. So we knew that straight away, we needed to do that with funds that we didn't have. And Crowdfunder, we just felt, was a brilliant way for us to access that vital funding to help us refurbish our new venue, which we were amazed at being able to get. And then also with Crowdfunder, it's a great vehicle for growing that interest and community involvement, so people could already feel that they're a part of something, really.
Yeah. And what difference has it made to you guys doing your Crowdfunder?
We wouldn't have been able to do it without Crowdfunder, full stop, basically. We raised £19,000, and this was essential for us. So the venue that we occupy, it's formerly a mother care unit within our local shopping centre. And as brilliant as the space was, I mean, to have it's 2 floors and to have such amazing amount of space was brilliant, but you can't really run dance classes unless you've got walls and equipment. So lots of empty space is perfect, but we needed specific things. We did need walls, and we did need sound equipment. And we wanted always from the onset to be really accessible for everybody. So we wanted to ensure there was hearing loops and large screens for people to be able to see and hear about communication on, etc. So Crowdfunder was massively important because it helped us, as I said previously, to be a vehicle for getting those vital funds in. It also gave us a dynamic way to talk about our launch, to help people see that they could be a really active part in helping us to begin the journey. And I think we had 138 supporters in total that helped us raise our total.
So it's bringing that whole community together even before you've really started.
Definitely.
So what did you find difficult about crowdfunding? Was there anything that was a bit of a challenge?
Yes, I think my visual's gone at this really untimely moment. I do apologise.
Okay, we can hear you. That's the main thing.
Actually, rather timely, the videos I found really challenging. They're really important, and we came to understand how important they were. Crowdfunder really helped us to understand the importance of using visual content. But I don't know, I take a million takes for anything like that, and I was getting quite stressed. My husband was filming me a lot of the time and trying to remember my lines and things like that. It all comes from the heart, but I stumble over my words quite a lot. So that was something I found difficult about kind of creating the content for. And I guess also keeping the energy going, because we were really exhausted at this time. It was a really tight time frame that we were working to. So we're both really exhausted. So keeping the energy going and helping people to see the positive. We didn't want to appear desperate and trying to guilt trip our friends and family into donating. So trying to keep up the positivity and the momentum with that, I guess, was tricky. What I would say though was that we would probably have, if we'd had more time, we would have liked to shape our campaign a little bit more. But Crowdfunder, the team there, were really, really instrumental in helping us to do a good job, what we felt was a good result. Just really, really helpful in steering us in the right direction. So had we had more time, it might have been a little bit different, but we were really grateful to the help that we had, for the help that we had.
Wow, I never would have thought that you found that difficult to do that video, because it's just fab. It's so good. That's really inspiring for other project owners who are a little bit worried about doing that. Yeah. Just planning it, having a bit of a script, that helps quite a lot, doesn't it?
Definitely, yes, yeah.
And what did you find worked best during your campaign?
Okay, so regular communication was definitely key. Updates for people. Like I said, it was a tight time frame, and we were kind of offering something that wasn't there yet. So we were kind of saying, please give us money, this will happen. And obviously you get people saying, or when and where, and asking for the specifics. So regular information giving was quite key. I would say that the videos were really instrumental as well. They helped people to see personality, they helped it to be personal. And also I would say that they helped us to be really specific so that we could, our target was then measurable, because we were saying exactly what we needed it for. And you could see visually that we had a space, and it was a brilliant space, but it needed these things in order to make it functional. So I would say that videos were definitely something that worked well for us, and urgency, I would say, because for us that was quite urgent. Sorry, I've gone again. But like I think I said at the end of the video there, let's get these doors open in September, and that was weeks away. So people understood the urgency of our time limit, really.
Yeah, I think that's really key. I think, we talk to people quite a lot about how long a campaign should be, and having that bit of urgency really does help you to get to your target, definitely. So who helped you with your campaign? How did you divide up the workload? Did you have a little bit of a team?
It was mainly just myself and my husband, to be honest. I mean, we've got an amazing group of friends and family who definitely supported us. The large bulk of the work was myself and Adam, but I would say that our friends, like pulling our friends in to help us make the videos, lots of people dancing in strange places, was really beneficial. We hadn't obviously launched, but having those people around really helped to show what we were all about. We were also really, really lucky because we do have a filmmaking friend. So a lot of the videos my husband did on his phone, but some of the, well, particularly our Crowdfunder one, we did rope in our buddy to help us with that, who gave his time and edited it for us as well. So I would say it's good to draw on people you know, who have extra talents and things and can help you with that. In terms of helping us with the workload, I mean, Crowdfunder was great at that as well. They were first class, really. We got detailed feedback on our messaging, guiding us really with the Crowdfunder experience. We asked friends to share our videos and our messaging online to help grow our reach. And also, I think for Adam and I, we've done a lot in our community over recent years, like 20 odd years. We've done a lot in this local community. So I think together we have some credibility. We've run voluntary programs. I've run dance schools for a corporate enterprise, lots of community work. So I think having that level of trust from others really helped the campaign, definitely.
Yeah, roping in as many people as you can. It's all about teamwork. You know, we're talking about sports today. Like Chloe mentioned earlier, it's perfect for anybody that's involved with sports. And then what advice would you give someone about crowdfunding?
I would say to celebrate all the little triumphs, maybe. Sometimes it feels like a hard slog and you're worried that you're not going to make the target, but do celebrate all the little triumphs and give personal thanks, I would say, as well, to people. I think the rewards are that are good as well to entice people and to give them something specific to aim for. So making your rewards relevant to your project and your audience. So we did, so for example, normally we would charge, in a normal situation outside of COVID, we would have a £10 membership to be part of our community. That's for your whole family, but we were giving away those memberships as part of our rewards. We were offering dance parties, private lessons. So if you have a wedding coming up, we would organise the choreography for that, for example. They were really quite popular. And we've done a couple of those already. I would say don't lose your vision, because I think with all of this, money can become the driver and not necessarily the enabler. But I think if your values and your vision is at the forefront, then you can generally just trust the process and kind of keep the why, really.
And I think then that really comes across, like especially in your videos and any kind of updates or anything you're sending out to people, because that's what really speaks to people, isn't it? Is why you're doing it.
Yeah, I think so. I think the personal element is really important, and that they know it's sincere and genuine. And that really speaks to people volumes, definitely.
Fab. Gemma, we've got a couple of questions, if that's okay.
Yes, of course. Fire away.
So our first question is from Lisa Wright. Thanks, Lisa. Great video. How did the project work with finding the venue, then looking for funding? Did you have support from the landlord? That's an interesting question.
Yeah, actually, it's been a bit of a journey for us in some ways. Like I mentioned before, we're quite well connected with our local community. So we'd already been chatting with our local council, actually, just people we know from within the council. In fact, one of our local council operators or employees had actually seen something that I'd put together for a school fair one time, and came to speak to me, approached me about doing more dance within the community here in Sutton. And so as a direct link there, when it became time for us to say, yes, we're going to go ahead and we're going to try and get this off the ground, he was a key person to speak to. He put us in touch with a few different people. We did originally try for another venue where the landlord wasn't terribly responsive, and we sent in kind of our proposal. We had a really detailed proposal, actually, really kind of showing what we wanted to do and how we wanted to benefit the community. And I think if the landlord felt kind of inclined in that way himself, he might have been more open, but that venue didn't happen because the landlord wanted more money than we had available. And then we were put in touch with our local shopping centre, and the manager really there caught our vision, and he then spoke to the landlord on our behalf. And they have been really supportive. I would say there's still a lot of overheads to pay and a lot of things, a lot of hoops to jump through, but they've caught our vision for it, I would say. And with an economy that's kind of dying and increasingly so now being more difficult, I think that the landlords saw benefit in us bringing a crowd into the shopping centre, and not necessarily to buy products, but then they're going to purchase from other stores who have already said, you know, they're really glad that we moved in because it's picked up their trade.
Fab. Thank you for that question, Lisa. And then we've got another question from Di. The video looks very professional. I agree. Was it costly? I think you kind of touched on this a little bit before.
For us, it didn't cost us anything. And I think that's the difficulty, because I know for a lot of people that potentially could be costly. Our filmmaker friend, his wife and family dance with us. They're a really community-minded family, and they love what we do. We've known each other for a really long time, and they just really wanted to help, and again caught the vision for everything. And so, yeah, it didn't cost us anything at all, but they can be costly, I suppose. But it's using your networks and finding people who can help you.
I think that's really key, using your network. I think people would be really surprised that in your wider network, you might not know them personally, but there might be the son of somebody, daughter of somebody who can help you, the student, or just done a little bit of that before. So yeah, that's a really great question.
On that, you might also find that people that are doing media and things in college have projects that they need to do, and they're quite often minded, so they might be willing to support.
So it would be beneficial for them too. Yeah, absolutely. And then I think our final question for you, Gemma, from Glynis. Any recommendations for making a good video whilst keeping to social distancing guidelines? That is a brilliant question, Glynis.
Oh, yes. I mean, I suppose if you've got a really good, I say camera, but obviously a phone these days, the iPhones and what have you, have got a really great camera on them. For that, it depends on your project, and it depends whether your project means that you've got to be close together with other people. But in the circumstance of our video, the camera guy was quite far away from me and just had a really great zoom and a good camera. And actually we weren't close together in any way. So I think, yeah, depending on the equipment used, I think that's quite possible. But again, our video also incorporated lots of dancers that were together. And I would say now is an opportunity to use the outdoors.
Yeah.
Get outside in local spaces. If your project is about somewhere particularly local, then it highlights the area that you're wanting to do your project in. Yeah, I hope that's helpful.
Oh, I think that is, and that's a really good question. I think a lot of photographers, videographers, they have started working now. A couple of weeks ago, people that I know are certainly. And yeah, go outside, make the most of going outside, totally. Oh, thank you so much, Gemma. That was amazing. Really, really good. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of the day.
Yeah, no problem at all. Thank you so much for having me, and good luck to everybody with their projects.
Thanks, Gemma. Okay, so hopefully we've got Chloe somewhere, and we can do a little bit of a Q&A, because I think there's a lot of questions coming in, Chloe.
Yeah, all right, I'm ready.
Right, first one for Chloe. Let's have a look. This is from Glyn. Any constraints from Sport England as to how money can be used, i.e. is it okay for building repairs? It's a very good question.
Okay, so for the Active Together Fund in particular, that is a direct result of whatever coronavirus has meant to your organisation. So it's more of a sort of recovery fund, but we do have another fund as well called Activate Your Space, also with Sport England, which is designed more for new refurbs, a new pitch, whatever it might be. So even if you might not be looking at the Active Together Fund, you can still go through the Crowdfund Sport Learning, and you can potentially apply to the other funds as well.
Fab, thanks, Chloe. And then our next question is from Brian. How can people without a computer donate?
Okay, so it is online. It's our online platform. So the money will have to go onto the website. If they don't have a computer or a phone, they could potentially give the money directly to you, and you could put it on for them. If you do that, just be aware that one pledge from you or 3 pledges from you just counts as one supporter, so it will affect your supporter numbers a little bit.
Yeah, fab. Thanks, Chloe. And then next question from George. This is George from Nottingham School of Boxing. Is there a deadline for the Active Together match funding? I can't see it on the Sport England site.
We don't have a set deadline, if you like. It is, as I say, in response to the coronavirus. So hopefully that's going to be over soon. And also there is a limited amount of money, so start moving quickly.
And the next question is from Joanna. Is the Active Together Fund available to commercial organisations?
So you must be not-for-profit. As long as you're not-for-profit and promoting sport and activity to the environment, to the community, Active Together will be good for you.
And next question from Brian. What time limit is placed on raising your crowdfunding target?
So you can set your own time limit. We suggest 4 weeks is kind of the best. We'll always see a peak at the beginning and at the end of a crowdfunding project. So 4 weeks gives you enough time to try and keep momentum up without exhausting yourself and your crowd.
Absolutely. And it goes back to what Gemma was saying earlier about it just gives it that sense of urgency. If you have it on for 2 months, it just loses that momentum a little bit.
Yeah, it's not so interesting anymore after a couple of months. So keep it short and sweet and get all the energy into it in that 4 weeks and you should be able to raise some decent money.
Yeah. And then from Martin, thanks for your question, Martin. Must the crowdfunder be used only for capital projects, equipment purchases, or can it be used to fund operating costs?
Yeah, operating costs is absolutely fine. As I say, it's a result of COVID, and that has affected some people just because they can't keep going. They don't have the money coming in. So that's what it's in response to.
Fab. And then this might be our last question. So last call for questions. This question is from Louise. How does crowdfunding differ from other fundraising platforms? What are the specific things that would differ for fundraising?
So potentially the biggest thing is the rewards. I mentioned this earlier, and I will never stop talking about how great they are, because it is a really, really good way of connecting with the wider network rather than just your immediate friends, families, members in this case. It's a fab way of reaching further.
Fab.
And you can speak to coaches. We've got loads of ways to help you as well. So you're not alone with us.
Absolutely. We are here to support you. We're getting lots more questions in Chris, thanks, Chris. Who usually contributes? Is it local people or from all over the world?
Usually it will be okay, so I suggest you create a network map. So jot down everyone you can think of. The initial people that are going to pledge are going to be members, friends, family, because they want to see you do well and they want the club to survive. Then you want to look out to the wider community. So the neighborhood, maybe the dog walkers that use the grounds, and try and think of everyone that can benefit from your club being there. And then the rewards, again, offer an extra way of reaching even further than as well. It's unlikely that you're going to get some random person from Australia pledging, but it's not impossible.
I think particularly for the kinds of projects we're talking about today, it's going to be people within your wider community probably who benefit from the end project. So people who are going to participate, or, it's going to be people like that mainly, isn't it? So our next question is from Steve from Wakefield Whirlwinds. I love that name. We're a wheelchair basketball club and we need the use of a sports hall. Most are closed at the present time. Plus the fact that the nature of our athletes will mean that it will be some time before we can meet as a club. Could we do this through individual challenges, perhaps in outdoor spaces?
I'm not sure what the question is.
So I think the question is potentially about how they could crowdfund through individual challenges.
So crowdfunding can quite happily be a group sport. So get all of your members involved. It's not about running the marathon to raise money. It's literally promoting your organization and the amazing stuff that you're doing for the community. So focus on that. Get all your members to get involved by sharing, finding rewards to use as well. But it's not a case of everyone getting together and doing some big thing to raise money for charity or anything like that.
Yeah. Fab.
Did that make sense?
It did. Totally.
Okay.
And from Joe, thanks Joe, what's the average amount raised via a crowdfunder campaign? So it's around 5k, isn't it, Chloe?
Yeah, it's around 5k. It massively differs. That's average, but you're taking in the massive projects and the smaller projects as well. If you're raising money for an extra, I can't think of anything cheap in the sports world, it's also expensive. But if you're just crowdfunding for a reasonably small piece of equipment that doesn't cost all that much, your target's going to be lower, so you're not going to raise as much. It's not necessarily that you haven't been as successful, you just didn't need that much. Yeah. And likewise, we see some really, really big projects as well, so it definitely differs.
Fab, we are finishing up questions now, Chloe. So from Stuart, what is a realistic amount to set as a target? Do you know the highest amount raised to date?
I don't know what the highest amount is, do you?
Well, I think it's our NHS Masks for Heroes campaign, which isn't a sports related campaign, but that was over £2 million, which is pretty incredible. I think that's our biggest one ever. So that's kind of the limit so far that we've got.
There's your there's the level there, guys.
Yeah.
In terms of setting a target, it's really important to think about your network and your community and how much you think would be feasible. The extra funding is never guaranteed, so don't rely on that for when you're setting your target. We want you to really embrace crowdfunding, aim to reach that target, and then the match funding should be considered a extra incentive and an extra benefit to it. I always suggest if you can figure out where about 25% of your target is going to come from before you've started crowdfunding, you're probably along the right lines.
I think that's a really good tip, Chloe. And then we've had a good question from Mike. How do you count the number of contributors, and is there a minimum or max from a single donation?
So we count it for you. There's a nice big section on your page which will say supporters, and it will have the numbers and I'll have the names and some comments from them if they want to leave one as well. What was the next bit? Is there a minimum, maximum? So minimum £1, maximum as much as they'll give you.
Absolutely. Oh, that's it for questions. Thank you, Chloe.
Thank
you. What are the next steps from here?
Okay, so hopefully everyone now has a better understanding of crowdfunding and how it might benefit your organisation. So now it is your turn to become the expert. I mentioned this earlier. We have this brand new learning platform for crowdfunding for sports organisations. We will give you all the tips and tricks you need to plan, run and create a successful campaign. There'll be a link in the chat box. So what are you waiting for?
Get started. Oh, Chloe, that was amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you again also to Gemma. Really appreciate both of your time. Please do follow the link to the Learn platform to take the next step in your crowdfunding journey. Thank you everyone for watching and take care.